down at Fiserv Forum.
Giannis rumbling down the lane, and he will put an end to the madness as he lays it in with a left hand, count it with a foul.
Our Bucks Spurs coverage begins tonight at 8 on your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good morning, 9:01. We have 16 degrees. Look for increasing cloudiness today. Maybe some flurries. Cold with a high of only 24. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Thousands of Southern California residents hoping their homes survive the Palisades fire. The wildfires burned roughly 3,000 acres in the Pacific Palisades. Strong winds pushing those flames, which have destroyed an unknown number of homes and structures. It is still uncontained. CAL FIRE Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua says those around the nearby 500-acre Hearst fire who haven't evacuated should think about that right now.
For the local residents that may be in the area that are thinking about evacuating, if it's a thought, I would say do it. The earlier, the better.
Another major fire, the Eaton Fire, has burned over 2,200 acres near Pasadena. Having lost a round of the New York State Appellate Courts, President-elect Trump now wants the Supreme Court to step in to prevent his sentencing in the New York hush money case. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Trump's lawyers argue that moving forward with the sentencing on Friday would damage the institution of the presidency. The sentencing is scheduled to occur 10 days before Trump takes office, but his attorneys aim to convince the justices that his status as president-elect means he shouldn't be forced to attend the hearing, even virtually. The High Court has asked New York prosecutors to file a formal response to Trump's petition by tomorrow morning, but there's no telling just yet whether the justices will side with Trump.
Debate over the TikTok ban reaches the High Court this week. One business owner here in Milwaukee already creating a plan B.
A man in Milwaukee known as J-Matt has more than 180,000 followers on TikTok. He founded hashtag MKE and coaches others on social media.
Last year was my first year self-employed full-time, and I made 46% of my income from sponsored content. A lot of those sponsorships had TikTok involved.
J-Matt isn't sitting back and waiting to see if the TikTok ban goes through. He's already planning on it.
And what will I do to pivot to make sure that I'm able to bring in enough income to sustain my lifestyle?
Jessica Tai, WTMJ News.
Right now, 25 school resource officers supposed to be in Milwaukee public schools as mandated under Act 12. Mayor's office says it's not the city's fault. The district is more than a year past the deadline.
It's not a City of Milwaukee issue, although we will be the ones leading to work to make sure that the issue is resolved.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says when school resource officers were in place, Milwaukee Public Schools foot the cost during the school year, and the city paid for the SROs through the summer, and said this about the board's unanimous vote to get rid of SROs in 2020.
I think that the school district should not have severed the relationship in the first place. I think they probably went a little too far.
So the fight is over who is going to pay for it. Julia Fellow, WTMJ News.
Vacant homes could soon be repopulated again in Milwaukee. Milwaukee Commissioner for City Development Lafayette Crump tells Spanning the State what efforts are being made to renovate hundreds of abandoned and vacant properties for home buyers.
Those that are not owner-occupied, they are in rent-to-own situations. So we're, it's another one of our priorities that we have a different path to home ownership available. So really excited to see where it's going.
Crump says the program will provide more economic drive to the city and will help continue home renovations after pandemic stimulus aid runs out. A new housing company lowering the cost of single living by renting out properties that have dozens of roommates. The Cohabs company has been converting properties in Washington, D.C. to co-living spaces where up to 36 roommates share common areas like kitchens and bathrooms. The rooms rent for about $1,600 a month. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed bag on Wall Street. Dow down 117 points. NASDAQ up just 20. S&P 500 is down 2. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 9:05.
I know, it's here. It's January. WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you have the January blues, brighten up your day with a free prime rib dinner tonight at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club, voted the best supper club in the area. When you buy one prime rib dinner, you get a second prime rib dinner free. Or order anything on the menu, your second dinner is always free. Desserts and those huge ice cream drinks. Buy one, get one free. Sip on an old-fashioned, a Manhattan, a bourbon, or choose from over 100 wines on a brand-new wine list. The Fox and Hounds is in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest. It is truly a one-of-a-kind gem. The holiday decorations are still up. Check them out. Thousands of lights, Christmas characters. It is a must-see, and those 7 wood-burning fireplaces will keep you warm and cozy on a cold January night. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine, the drive is beautiful. The restaurant is spectacular this time of year. Enjoy your free prime rib dinner tonight. Reserve at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
In 1964, we were making strides towards space travel.
Mary Poppins was the #1 movie in theaters.
And the Beatles were taking America by storm.
Which was long before I was born.
Facts. 1964 is also the year it all started for Richland's Tire and Service Centers. 60 years of continuous growth and more happy customers than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, the streamers are a bit overkill. It's just us in the studio.
All right. But it's important to know accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Mitschke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richland's Tire and Service Centers.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Brewer Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Late night basketball in Milwaukee tonight. Bucks tip off against the Spurs from Fiserv. Milwaukee sits at 18-16 on the season. And number 6 Marquette crushed Georgetown 74-66 in college basketball action. Milwaukee visits Fort Wayne tonight. Wisconsin hosts Minnesota Friday night. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. It is quiet out there. We don't even have any disabled vehicles on the freeway system. It's going to be smooth sailing if you're headed into downtown. The Zoo to the Marquette Interchange, a 6-minute drive. 43 South Brown Deer Road to the Marquette Interchange, 14, and 94 North from Layton to downtown, about 7 minutes. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Increasing cloudiness today, maybe a flurry or two. Cold with a high of 24. Partly cloudy, 14 overnight. Partly cloudy and 30 tomorrow. A chance of light snow early Friday. Mostly cloudy, 31. Partly cloudy and 29 on Saturday. And snow likely on Sunday, a high right at freezing, 32. 13 in Madison, 17 in Green Bay, now 18 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
I say yes. What say you? Steve Scaffidi on this Hump Day edition. I always love conversations. I really, really love conversations with smart people. And my contributor guest today, Jay Curtis, General Counsel, IRG, Institute for Reforming Government Qualified. So first of all, thanks for being here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Steve.
Let's do some general politics stuff because you are a smart guy. And I love the conversations often that we have away from the show, but let's do it on the air. A lot of the discussion last night and today is about, did you hear what Trump said? I remind people, whatever you think about Donald Trump, he is the next president certified this week of the United States of America after having served as the 45th president. Now he's 47th. He will replace Joe Biden. A lot of us, not just me, are wondering what in the world Joe Biden has been doing for the last few months, but let's set that aside. He won't be here that much longer.
Right.
So you and I were chatting before the show started. So much of this attention is on the hyperbole and sort of the comments of Donald Trump. Very little attention paid to the actual sort of the nitty-gritty details of things like the Panama Canal or Greenland. When you look at this sort of coverage in terms of politics, and we all are affected and impacted by this every damn day that we live in this country, what do you think as someone who observes politics and certainly can talk about politics?
Sure. Yeah, no, I loved our conversation before going on air, and yeah, thanks for having me on. Happy New Year. It is interesting that following the fall election, we hear the word mandate thrown around. We can quibble with the details. The reality is Donald Trump won all 7 swing states. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. It was I think we can all agree it was a convincing win. And I guess I am surprised at this point that following that convincing win, the media isn't at least trying to be a little more objective. And I certainly have disagreed with President Trump on various issues, but as a conservative, I want to see smaller, more limited government. That's what we work on at IRG. And so when the president has proposed good ideas, I and others have supported those. And there's been certain things, you look at something like spending, where I think in his first administration it was problematic. Hopefully he reins that in his second term. But back to the media, I'm just surprised that I guess they haven't learned their lesson a little bit. And look, I get Trump can be a very polarizing figure. Again, I've disagreed with him on some issues, but let's be objective. I disagreed with President Biden on some issues, but there were some things I agreed with him. Not many, but I think we're just losing this sense of objectivity. And so to what you and I were talking about, the Panama Canal is a significant national security issue if we can't be, or if you have these exorbitant fees that are being charged to suppliers, shippers. That's affecting the price of goods. That's affecting inflation. There's a national security issue. If we have to get materiel, right, military materiel to the Pacific
quickly,
that's a problem.
And there's concerns that countries like China may have undue influence over that canal, where we are suddenly we don't have that vested interest that's we built the damn thing. We don't have that going for us, and it's sort of removed from immediate access, accessibility, and use, where it can be critical in all kinds of scenarios that play out in the future of this world.
Absolutely, and so there's the immediate issue of something like the Panama Canal, and again, whether Trump is intentionally doing this or not, I think he's highlighting I think the most pressing concern for the United States right now, and that is the influence of China. So I'm in the Guard, right? So I am exposed to maybe this in a more sensitive level, knowing that they are, and they're literally building islands, the Spratly Islands in the South Pacific. But more concerning, the Wall Street Journal just had a piece, I think it was maybe over the weekend, noting how, their hackers are literally, I think it was a Houston wastewater facility. I think there was some other utility in L.A. They're just embedding in not even national security kind of infrastructure, but just basic utilities for the purpose of disrupting and causing chaos.
Well, all these stories, that's one of them. And certainly, remember the balloon story? Like, what is it, about a year and plus now, where things just going across our country, and eventually we knock it down, and, I'm still waiting to see, what they actually determine, and some of that's probably high-level secret stuff. But it seems like China and some other countries, Russia maybe, are playing the long game, and we're sort of sitting here thinking, we're good, we're okay. Meanwhile, terror comes closer and closer to our borders, and then, surprise, surprise, hopefully not, it happens where we have an incident or another country says, you know what, maybe they're not so tough anymore. And maybe that's the thing we should be thinking about. However outlandish the claim is that former president, soon-to-be president Donald Trump makes.
Yeah, so I guess my point is I'm at least glad that he's raising some of these issues. So back to the Panama Canal. If the Chinese were actually to control that, and they have significant influence, we would have real national security concerns and economic concerns, as we talked about. And then on a broader scale, I'll reference another Wall Street Journal piece a few weeks ago, and my kids noticed that. They're like, "What? Are we in World War III?" And that was the essentially the title of the article. But when you look at the influence of China and kind of this not to use the Bush term axes of evil, but when you look at China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, it's kind of this consolidation of power, even if they're not necessarily fully aligned. But you look at Syria and the Assad regime, and how they all were kind of in different ways supporting Assad. There is this axis of evil that has slowly developed to the point where there are parallels to World War II.
Certainly could make those historical comparisons. Jake Curtis, General Counsel, Institute for Reforming Government, my guest this half hour, maybe even longer than that, we'll see. And we're going to continue the conversation. There's a lot to talk about. Certainly the incoming administration. My friend Bill McCoshen says we should expect shock and awe. I'm going to get your take on what you think the first week or two of the next Trump administration will feel like. You can join the conversation on text, the Siding Unlimited, WTMJ Talking Text line, 855-616-1620. Send me your text. Some of you have already done that. Lots more to get to on this Wednesday edition, right here on 620 WTMJ.
Tony Drake here from Drake & Associates. Big news. Our retirement-ready radio show is moving to a new time slot. Catch us at noon every Saturday. At Drake & Associates, we craft tailor-made plans that not only meet your financial needs, but align seamlessly with your unique lifestyle. Tune in at noon on Saturdays and get retirement ready.
Drake & Associates, LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates, LLC does not provide legal or tax advice.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I love talking about Advent because it changed my life, and it could change yours. If you have poor sleep, a lot of tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. And for me, that means tired mornings on the radio, which nobody wants, trust me. My nose wasn't working properly. I was snoring. My poor wife, Kathy, had to deal with all of this. I did something about it before I ever was a spokesperson for Advent. I was a client. And I went to Advent, 30-minute visit, talked to 2 docs, put me at ease, answered my questions. For me, and everybody's unique, different problems, different solutions, it was sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in office, I breathe better than ever, and more importantly, and great for the radio show, I sleep through the whole night. I come rested and refreshed. That can be your story. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Save big money at Menards, where there's no ceiling to savings. Update your space with new ceiling tiles. Menards carries stylish and durable ceiling tile options. Armstrong ceiling tiles offer a variety of styles that are easy to install. Get the Brighton 2x2 ceiling tile for only $379 each. Plus, get 15% off everything you can fit in the bag. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Continuing my conversation with Jake Curtis, General Counsel, IRG. We're both small government guys, but Donald Trump's a big guy in the room, big presence. Some people would say big mouth. And we were talking a little bit about some of the things he'd make, and I'll actually play some of that stuff a little bit later in the program because I have some thoughts about some of it. But we are all sort of waiting to see what happens when the inauguration happens, which will be a very unique inauguration because I think for the first time and maybe forever we'll have some international leaders potentially in Washington, D.C. And as I said earlier, my friend Bill McCoshen, who joins me in the Friday edition of the Political Power Hour, said, expect shock and awe. What do you expect, Jake Curtis?
Yeah, I don't know. Bill, has a way with words.
Hyperbole?
I don't know if it'd be shock and awe. And frankly, I think, again, going back to kind of the media and objectivity, Trump is pretty transparent.
Yeah, there's not a lot you don't know.
There's not a lot you don't know, and it's pretty clear which issues he is passionate about. Say what you will, he gave a long press conference yesterday and really addressed almost every possible issue that was thrown at him from the media. And again, even there, right, the fact that he's not willing to commit or not commit to military action, He's viewing this as, look, I'll address the situation as they arise. So again, I'll set the media stuff aside. As far as policy goes, look, I think it's very obvious he's going to focus on energy independence, right? Which I think much can be accomplished there by way of executive action.
Yeah, Biden has closed access to some of these areas. I'm sure Donald Trump early on will open those back up.
Correct, and so that's an issue that can have a direct impact on the economy. Lower the price of goods and just, again, national security, make us energy independent and less, frankly, concerned with some of these, less savory actors are doing.
I'm most concerned and interested in what he does on border policy, crime, immigration policy, because I think that's one of the principal reasons, even in Wisconsin, that he's going to be the next president of the United States. Because people paid attention to that. You and I have talked about this before.
Right. So energy independence, and I was gonna note number 2, immigration. Right, the Lake and Riley bill passed the House yesterday. I mean, that clearly is going to be a focus of Congress and this president. And look, I had a text exchange with a congressman the other night, and really robust conversation about how we actually deal with this. And this was a conservative member, but they're approaching, I think, in a very reasonable way. Let's focus on the individuals that are on the national security terrorist watch list. Let's agree to focus on the individuals that either have committed violent crimes in their home country or have committed violent crimes here. And let's secure the border, right? If we can accomplish those 3 things, I actually think there would be a movement to, maybe find some way to deal with the remaining individuals, and maybe it's some sort of pathway. I don't know what form that would look like, but there certainly is, when you look at agriculture, manufacturing, there's a need for that labor. But Ron Johnson, I think, has been very good on this issue. As a business guy, negotiator, he always says, how do you actually do that in the business world? You don't start talking about the things you disagree about.
Right.
Talk about the things we agree on. Now, it's going to be very revealing. Can we agree that somebody, and that's why that vote was, frankly, I was surprised yesterday that there's still, 158 Democrats that are not willing to take the position that if somebody, and I know it was attached to theft, but the reality was individuals are committing violent acts and are not citizens. They shouldn't be welcome here.
Simply put, it should be a no-brainer. We do not want criminals in our country illegally being allowed to stay because you want to take up a higher cause for individuals who are not criminals, who maybe can make a case legally and through a proper immigration policy that they should come to the United States. And we keep muddying the waters on this issue. So thankfully, and this is the one time I will agree with President Donald Trump, this is something we should have taken care of decades ago, and yet here we are, 2025. It's going to require some heavy lifting. In the sense of what you think might happen, are we talking about sealing that border, National Guard at a high level, massive investment in infrastructure and security on that border? What is it going to feel like, do you think?
I think it has to, at some level, require some significant infrastructure. It's like look, if you have a leak, right? You address the leak. You don't start cleaning up.
You plug
the leak. You plug the leak. So and I just look. I'm not going to claim to be some expert on security infrastructure, but we put a man on the moon. Right, we're the most advanced economy in the world. I have to think between the military, private sector, government agencies, we could figure out a way to actually secure the border. And frankly, there's been various points in recent history where where there was COVID. I mean, we have done that. So to say it's not possible, I get it. We have a long border. It's a lot of mileage, but we can do it. Once we do that, then we can actually start addressing some of the issues that I actually think there's bipartisan support on. We saw it yesterday in the Senate. Senator Fetterman, right? Lead sponsor now with Senator Britt out of Alabama on the Riley bill. So I think there's potential here, and I would agree. Look, let's solve this. I remember back to the Bush administration, right? We had those conversations back then. We're going on a quarter century. Let's actually solve this. Let's actually secure the border. Let's actually fix the immigration system. Let's get the people out that shouldn't be here, that are committing violent acts, and let's figure out how we can get individuals in positions where they're going to contribute to society.
Got to get the break. But for Democrats out there, Republicans are willing to do the heavy lifting on this issue. After decades of both sides not accomplishing what we need to accomplish, which is a secure and safe border, which allows us, just as you said, to do all the other things once that's secure, and to make sure that the people that are supposed to be in this country are the ones that are here and not people that are running amok and causing havoc, which, by the way, costs us billions of dollars every year.
Of course.
In public safety costs and everything else.
And we haven't even touched on fentanyl.
No. Jake Curtis, General Counsel, IRG, Institute for Reforming Government. He'll going to hang around next segment and past the bottom of the hour news for you young folks. That's 9:30. We will continue the conversation right here on 620 WTMJ.
The only place to get this.
Every twist and turn you could possibly dream of is playing out tonight. Are you kidding me?
With some of this.
We are the Bucks, Justin.
You're a member of the team now. Okay.
Well, I have the tattoo on my arm, so I kind of am.
Get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show with Justin Garcia and Brandon Snide. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Special Milwaukee Auto Show Advanced Discount Ticket Offer has been extended to January 22nd. Turns out a lot of people want to come to the auto show. Get your auto show tickets now at a big discount. Buy a single ticket, or how about a pair of tickets for date night? Or you can buy a family 4-pack and take everybody. They can see all the latest vehicles, including cars, trucks, SUVs, luxury cars, and much more. For advanced discount tickets, go to autoshowmilwaukee.com. That's autoshowmilwaukee.com.
Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown. Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Start the new year right. Use your vision benefits and schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam. You check out new frame styles and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Shopco Optical is committed to quality eye care and will create personalized vision solutions tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. New year, new you, new style. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
A couple minutes before the bottom of the hour news with Connie Weber, who I always enjoy listening to. And you should too, because she's really good at her job. I'll give you the latest headlines, local, states, and national. And we, of course, have the latest from ABC coming up. Jake Curtis, General Counsel, Institute for Reforming Government, IRG. We're going to tee up the upcoming Supreme Court race. We got a couple minutes here, a minute and a half, to kind of tee that up. So it sounds like, looks like, Brad Schimmel, Waukesha County Judge, Susan Crawford, Dane County Judge, those seem like the candidates that we are all talking about. We should expect in April in that election. They will, of course, the winner takes the seat in August. At this stage of the game, what are you thinking and hearing about the race?
Well, I guess if we have a minute here, I mean, setting the table.
We got about 30 seconds now, so we'll get back to it after the ballot.
Yeah, huge race, 4-3 liberal majority. If Schimmel wins, it's 4-3 conservative, and then we have two more races, one in 26 and one in 27. So this is kind of for all the marbles for the next 3 years.
Yeah,
it's a big race.
This is the race because, as we were talking about during the break, there are other races coming.
Correct.
Rebecca Bradley, Hagedorn's in 29. There's another one I'm missing.
Ziegler in 27.
Yeah, so they're all stacking up. All right, Jake's going to stick around for one more segment. We're going to kind of dissect the Supreme Court race, the issues, what might happen in the time before the election and after. We have Connie Weber coming up with local news, and of course now the latest from ABC.
This
This is a special report from ABC News. California wildfires. I'm Sherry Preston. Hurricane force winds fueling several destructive wildfires around Los Angeles. ABC's Alex Stone is in the community of Altadena.
I'm in a neighborhood in northern LA where flames are towering above these homes. It is pitch black in this area because the electricity is out. It is only the blinking red lights from fire engines and the flames lighting up the hillside here. This is one of 3 large wildfires burning in Southern California in extreme winds. One wind gust was recorded at 99 miles an hour. Just incredible wind, low humidity, explosive fire behavior as these firefighters try to save these homes.
The flames jumping Sunset Boulevard and burning parts of the Palisades Charter School where several movies were shot, including Carrie, Freaker Friday, and Teen Wolf. The wind too strong for firefighters to fight it from the air. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. A van drove through the ice at Shawano Lake Tuesday morning. Driver got out. The van is still in the water. Shawano County Sheriff's deputies say the man had gone out to the lake to deliver food to someone who was ice fishing. He went to the hospital to be checked out, ended up getting arrested on an unrelated matter. A shuttered Milwaukee fire station reopens today. Station 31 on the city's south side has been closed since 2018 due to budget cuts. The department will also commission a new paramedic unit for Station 28 on the west side, which reopened in 2023 after also closing due to budget cuts in 2018. Plans for a new state office building on Milwaukee's west side are growing. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports proposals for the site. 27th and Wisconsin have grown to 72,000 square feet of offices for several Wisconsin agencies, including the Departments of Administration, Revenue, and Workforce Development. The building will be privately owned and leased to the state. Time for some news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Down arrows on Wall Street. Dow is off 178 points at 42,350. NASDAQ down 65, 19,424. S&P 500 is down 19 at 5,890. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. While that smooth commute did not last long, we have a new crash. It is blocking the 3 right lanes. This is going to be I-94 West at the ramp from St. Paul Avenue. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Increasing cloudiness today and maybe some flurries. It's going to be cold, a high of only 24. Partly cloudy and 14 overnight. Partly cloudy, just a bit warmer tomorrow, 30 for the high. Chance of light snow early Friday. Mostly cloudy, high 31. Partly cloudy and 29 on Saturday. And then snow likely. It'll be light on Sunday with a high of 32. 13 in Madison, 17 in Green Bay, 18 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:33.
I found a fountain of youth down there at QC Kinetics.
That's Henry Hinton, feeling like his young, active self again after treatments at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine.
I still have trouble walking down steps as I get older. I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference in my knee.
And that treatment at QC Kinetics used Henry's own natural healing properties, concentrated and placed right at the source of the pain. So Henry and patients just like him will enjoy long-term relief without surgery or downtime.
My knee is not hurting. I remember I was walking down some steps yesterday, and I thought, wow, this is not hurting when I walk down steps. I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics.
It's time to wind back the clock to days without constant joint pain. Start with a call to QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
107,471. Is that A, the number of minutes spent listening to your kids describe their favorite YouTuber's latest video? B, the combined number of calories you consume during football season? Or C, the number of households left without power during one of the last big winter storms? While A and B may be true, the real answer is C. But this winter, that 6-digit number can be reduced by 1 with your brand new whole house Generac generator from Mr. Howland's Home Services. We hardwire your new generator directly into your home's electrical system. Lights stay glowing, Wi-Fi goes on flowing, and your furnace keeps it going. All thanks to your new whole house Generac generator from Mr. Howland's Home Services. Oh, did I mention payments for as low as $99 a month? Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Ready to power through another winter? We can help.
Hanging out on a Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in or finding us online. All of our shows are available on YouTube, and you can find us on WTMJ.com, and our podcast, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, including a new one, all available at WTMJ.com or wherever you get your podcasts, including my newest one, which will debut next week with Kristen Bry in the afternoons. You need to listen. Cannot wait to get started on that. We're recording, I think, Thursday, maybe next Tuesday, something like that. Different genders, obviously, different political ideologies, different age groups. She's a millennial. I'm a boomer, apparently. So I'm interested in looking at politics and culture from those different perspectives. It's something we did the research. It's not really done on a podcast anywhere, so I'm looking forward to it. Kristen knows her way around a microphone. She's a great talker and smart, and I'm what I am. So we'll see. I feel like I'm going to probably be the secondary figure in this thing, but we'll see how it works out. So we're going to launch that next week. We'll certainly tell you about that. Jake Curtis has stuck around for another segment. We're going to stay on the Supreme Court. He is, of course, the general counsel at IRG. We talked about the race coming up in April. It's important for a lot of reasons. Whatever your ideology is, however you lean politically, this is a big Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. Why?
Well, it's a big race, and I think it's kind of unfortunate that the races have gotten to this point. I certainly don't want to suggest that Supreme Court races shouldn't be important races. They absolutely should. But when you have at least a certain segment of kind of the political movement on the left that I think is pretty open about their desire for a very activist court, right, to try to rein in the legislature, I think that's a problem. I think we saw this in the Protasiewicz-Kelly race. I know Dan. He's an amazing lawyer. He was, I think, a very good justice.
Do you think he ran a good race?
Look, Dan's not. I mean, this is a problem. I guess this is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
He's not a politician.
He doesn't run races.
He doesn't run races.
He knows the law.
And I worked with Dan at a previous law firm. I know Dan. He loves the law. And I guess when I look at somebody like Dan, it's like that's who we want as a justice, right? Somebody who's just steeped in the law, who has a very clearly articulated vision of what it means to be a jurist, right? To look at the text, to look at the original meaning behind a statute, and not kind of infuse values, right? And we saw literally a candidate in 2023, Janet Protasiewicz, Justice Protasiewicz, basically say, I'm going to articulate my values, and that's how I want you to judge me as a candidate. And I think that was like a watershed moment in Wisconsin judicial history when you had a candidate kind of openly indicating that her values were going to really be what's driving her decision making, as opposed to what does the text say, what is the original meaning, right? And we had, thankfully, with respect to text, 2004, the Khalil decision. It was a former Justice Sykes decision. Daniel Sir has written extensively about it, right? We now have, and most even progressive judges adopt that as basically, I'm going to start with the text. We all think that should be very obvious. But I think we had a long history of a progressive judiciary in Wisconsin saying, I'm just going to kind of, maybe embrace this evolving constitution type approach. And Khalil, under Justice Sykes, said, no, start with the text. And so I feel like now we're starting to get away from that, where it's values driven. Look, I don't care what somebody's personal political beliefs are. I want them to be a good judge and objectively apply the law. And I think we're getting away from that.
Do you think current Waukesha County judge and candidate for Wisconsin Supreme Court, Brad Schimmel, has to be careful? Because I've heard him, actually I've read some of his commentary on Act 10 and what he may or may not do. Does that?
I think it goes for both candidates.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the advantage and why I would support Judge Schimmel is that he I think embraces this kind of philosophy of, look, I'm going, whatever my personal beliefs are, I'm going to look at the text and I'm going to look at the original meeting. And even if I disagree or agree, right, it doesn't matter. But that's how I'm going to apply it. And even if it's something I disagree with, then it's up to the legislature to change that law. And so, yes, I mean, both candidates need to do that. I just happen to think one candidate actually believes that. And frankly, I think Susan Crawford, I'd be curious to hear her views on that, because if she adopts kind of the Protasewicz approach, it's going to be driven by her values. And I think that's a significant problem.
One of the things that Texter just noted on the Siding Unlimited WTMJ Talking text line is the amount of money being spent. I could be wrong, but I thought it was $50 million last time the Protasewicz win. Bill McCoshen, my guest on Friday, has thrown out, and maybe it was Joe Zepecki, threw out numbers like $100 million, $200 million. I don't know what it's going to be, but I would guess that it will break and shatter the records from the last time. Do you agree on how much money's thrown into this race?
Well, those guys would know better than I would as far as like where that number will be. I mean, I think it's going to be a huge number. This is going to be an expensive race. Now, that in and of itself, I don't have a problem with. I don't want government funding races, right? I would hope most people would agree that is just fraught with all sorts of problems. The government should stay out of these races. Let private individuals express their First Amendment rights and fund the candidates that they support. I'm more concerned with the number from the standpoint that, again, why are people spending $50, $80, $100 million on a state Supreme Court race? It's because I think we now have this philosophy that you're going to have a court that, not from a constitutional standpoint, not from the standpoint that you have inconsistent statutes, this is fundamentally inconsistent with the majority's values.
Last thing before you go, Jay Curtis is our guest on the Wednesday edition of Political Power Hour. Has the legislature sort of allowed this to happen by allowing the state Supreme Court to be the arbiter of things that should be settled in the legislature? And that's with obviously legislature controlled by Republicans, governor's office controlled by Democrats, and not figuring it out to the degree where we don't have to go to court to settle it.
I don't know if I would agree with that, and maybe the next session we spend some time talking about the recent Act 10 decision, because that, to me, right, that's been settled by two federal courts, two Seventh Circuit decisions, the Wisconsin Supreme Court case, and now it's being litigated again on, I think, a somewhat unique theory, because you now have a new majority.
Do you think Act 10, abortion, will be settled before we have potentially a new Supreme Court justice?
Yeah. Well, so that's total insider baseball. I don't have kind of the intel on that. My guess would be there's at least a chance on the abortion decision. I don't know how the Act 10 decision is decided before then.
Jay Curtis, General Counsel, Institute for Reform and Government. Always enjoy our conversations. You'll be back. We'll talk throughout the year. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Lots more to get to. Some fun stuff, the podcast, and then a little mention about my trip coming this fall. I want to just give you the latest on that. All that coming up on the Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak & Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak & Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring great tips on how to operate your home. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. At 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
If you're looking to build or remodel, then check out the 2025 Metropolitan Builders Association Home Building and Remodeling Show, presented by Nuns, January 10th through the 12th at State Fair Park. Learn about the latest home building and remodeling trends from over 150 MBA industry experts. For more information and tickets, visit mbahomeshow.com. If building and remodeling is on your to-do list in 2025, then don't miss the MBA Home Building and Remodeling Show this weekend at State Fair Park.
In a recent study, over one-third of millionaires predicted their ability to feel financially secure in retirement is going to take a miracle. At Annex Wealth Management, we believe a plan, not a miracle, will help increase your retirement confidence. Our team of experts gets to work using leading-edge technology to build comprehensive plans covering investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. And Annex doesn't have products to push with hidden fees or commissions. There's too much of that already. Annex is a fee-only fiduciary. More planning, fewer miracles. Know the difference. AnnexWealth.com.
Outdoor Living Unlimited puts cool stuff in your yard. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, even in-ground pools. You dream it, we design it together, then Outdoor Living Unlimited installs it for you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Producer Jasmine keeping me on track on this Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the great texts. I wish I could read more of them. It's not easy when you have a guest as good as Jake Curtis is. And Jake's on for a reason. He's really smart at what he does. General counsel, attorney, and knows his stuff when it comes to not just the law, but politics. We all wonder about this stuff, and we try to figure out what's going to happen next. And that's why I'm asking the questions. It's going to be an interesting year, 2025. We obviously have the former President-elect Donald Trump taking office after the inauguration at the end of the month. And it is going to be interesting to see what does happen. And tomorrow I have an entire show devoted to what I call the facts of politics. That's how I labeled the show. And it's going to be me talking about a lot of different versions of that story and what you glean from what candidates are saying. And we started today talking about that a little bit with Jake Curtis. All right. A little tease for my newest podcast, which will be debuting next week. I'm doing it with Kristen Bry. You can find her in the afternoons along with the great Brian Noonan. They do a great job in the afternoon. But this is not that. This is Kristen and I talking about politics and culture from a cross-generational, cross-gender, certainly different ideologies. Kristen leans left, I lean right. So all of those things will be mixed in. But it's unfiltered. It's Kristen and I for about 20, 25 minutes talking about some of the big stories. And we're going to start with a really interesting concept. How does one measure their political ideology? Well, there's actually a way you can measure it. And I took the test last night, and a lot of people may disagree with me. I turned out I'm a sort of a pretty traditional conservative. I'm not a Trump conservative, and there's a distinction, and I'll probably get to some of that tomorrow. But that's where I fell, and Kristen will tell me how she did on the podcast. But we'll also give you links to all that stuff. But here's the interesting part for me. So many people say, yeah, I listen to the show, but I'm really not a podcast person. The goal of this podcast is to make you a podcast person. And we are going to make it so easy for you, as easy as a click. And we'll lay all that out for you in the next week or so, where you can find it, how you can access it. We'll make it so darn easy that you will find the podcast. And I think once you find it, you'll want to listen to it every 2 weeks, and then we may even go every week if we think that's the best way to have conversations that matter. Because one of the things that Kristen and I agree on is that having conversations across political divides, we don't necessarily see it as a divide, an opportunity is probably more appropriate term to use, to sort of break down some of this stuff It's kind of like my formula for the show, which I get criticized for, but is actually, I think, valuable. We have both sides. For example, upcoming Supreme Court race. We will have Judge Schimmel and we'll have Judge Crawford on. Both will get invitations. We don't have to have them on together. I'll give them an hour if they want. Tell me where you are, what you do, and probably more importantly, what you will do if you are lucky enough to be the next justice on the court. And I think these things matter, and those conversations certainly matter, and we're going to have them. So one of the other things people say to me is, you only have an hour. I've got an hour, but we're going to dig deep on this stuff. And I started to slot in shows over the next month or two on specific topics. For example, the culture of violence in this country. Now, some people disagree with me. And I'll tell you, I've had a hell of a time finding a professor or a subject matter expert that is brave enough to come on the show and say, you know what, we do have a culture of violence. Because I know there are people who say that's not true. It's America. It's the country we live in. It's the price of freedom. I don't buy into that. I think it's silly and a specious argument. And I think we have to break these things down. So you will see more in-depth shows on real topics, not pontificating, not screaming at the microphone, which unfortunately has become popular across the United States over the last few decades. That's not what we're doing here. And I thank those of you who recognize that difference and take the time to listen. All right, after the break, we have like 4 more seats on our listener cruise in October. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you an opportunity. It's up to you to take us up on it. We have a great group. We're actually going to have a summer gathering of all the folks, and it's a significant number already, approaching 40. So I think we max out around 40 or so. We will have a trip of a lifetime. And we have like 5 couples celebrating anniversaries. It's going to be a blast. And oh, by the way, we're going to be in Sicily, which is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. We'll take a break here. We'll wrap it up after this on 620 WTMJ.
Once the final whistle blows, Bucks Talk with Justin Garcia is on the air.
Let's go, baby! Woo!
Recap every Bucks game, win or lose with Bucks Talk.
But the fact that this was not universally met with shockwaves of, wow, did you see the Milwaukee Bucks fired their head coach? I think speaks to what John Horst was talking about. If things were good, we need them to be great.
It's Bucks Talk with Justin Garcia, only here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. Should I delay my Social Security benefits, or should I start taking them right away? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your decision can impact your income for the rest of your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we help you create a strategy to maximize your benefits so you can make the most of what you've earned. Social Security is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap. Take the first step today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and get a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Don't leave money on the table. Text SS to 414-897-9522.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, cold tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% on all in-stock models. This weekend only inside the arena at the Waukesha County Fairgrounds.
A Blaine's Farm and Fleet original story.
These are going to be the best pancakes ever.
Let's see. Griddle, mixing bowls, and birdseed.
For the world's first pancake bird feeder snowman. Ta-da!
For home-cooked breakfasts, special bird feeders, and more, we've got the value you need to do things your way. Like Blaine's brand suet cakes, 99 cents for rewards members. Plus, rewards members get free same-day delivery on pet orders of $49 or more. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Good show today. Enjoyed the conversation with Jake Curtis. He will be back, guarantee that. Mention the podcast. Some couple people asked in the text line where you can find my current podcast, Scaffidi. Easiest way, go to WTMD.com, just click on the podcast link, and then you can find all of our great podcasts. And they're fun to do. And Scaffidi is basically everything other than politics, which is not going to be what you need to listen is about. All right, real quick. So if you remember, a few months ago, I was talking about my Sicily and Malta trip coming up in October of this year now, 2025, October 3rd to October 16th. 14 days. Been to Sicily. It's gorgeous, beautiful. Food's amazing. Wine's wonderful. It's got ancient history, which part of the draws for me of traveling, and I've done a lot of traveling the last few years, is the cool thing about it. But, I mean, just the gathering. For example, had dinner on Saturday night with my friends, our friends, Kathy and I's friends, Jose and Dorothy. Actually, great restaurant in Germantown, Relish. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Fantastic. Great setting, easy to get to, awesome. That's not a paid pitch. I just enjoyed the dinner and seeing Jose and Dorothy because they were on my German trip, and they're going with us to Sicily. And that can be you. I think Rose said we have like 4 seats left. There are some deal opportunities that you can find out by going to foxroadtravel.com and finding the Sicily and Malta Mosaic or just calling them. You can ask for a contact. Our trips are different. I know everybody does trips, all the radio people. We are enmeshed in the whole experience. We eat together. We hang out together. We talk. We usually have a Ask Steve Anything, which we always enjoy. We have giveaways. Last on the Germany trip, we played bags. And not surprisingly, Kathy and I won the bags competition. And she had never played bags before, but I had. So if you are interested, I will be on Fox Road's Travel Show on this Saturday at 9:35 talking about it. I'd love to have you join us. There are opportunities for some pricing savings here, cost savings. You want to be on this trip. It's going to be amazing. Best time of the year to go. The scenery, the food, the culture, you will really, really enjoy it. So come along. If you're celebrating something, love to have you join our group of celebrants and travelers in October. Just go to foxroadtravel.com, group tours, Sicily and Malta Mosaic. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. Just me talking about politics, more specifically, the facts of politics. News is next, 620 WTMJ.
If you're living with joint pain in your shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, and you have Medicare or Medicaid insurance, coming to Rejuvenex to solve your pain problems is something you should strongly consider. First off, because our FDA-approved pain treatments have been shown in many cases to be highly effective at reducing inflammation and substantially alleviating pain. Secondly, Medicare and Medicaid cover Rejuvenex treatments, so your cost could be nothing, or next to nothing at all. Chronic pain will only worsen with age. This leads to a far more compromised